What is up, everybody? Welcome back. This is the final edition of the PGA DFS model, at least for the year of 2024. The only other tournament that's on the schedule for this year is the Hero World Challenge. Obviously, there's only going to be like 20 golfers in that field, so we won't have any content for that, and we won't have any content until the new year. So I'm excited for this week's event. This is the strongest field that we've had in a while. More excited for the fact that we get Shot Tracker back. The last 2 weeks, still fun to sweat, but it's just not the same when you're seeing shot one from the fairway or shot one from the tee box, shot two from the fairway. You just have no idea where your golfers are at on each hole. So I'm excited to have Shot Tracker back. I will note the Shot Tracker is only going to be on the Seaside course. So there's going to be two courses in play this week at the RSM Classic. There's the Seaside course and the Plantation course. Golfers going to play each course on Thursday and Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday after the cut, it's going to be played at the Seaside course. So you're going to get Shot Tracker for 3 of the 4 rounds for each golfer, assuming they make the cut. And the courses, they're both pretty easy. The Seaside, the par 70, just over 7,000 yards, really wide fairways, really big greens. The winning score at this event has been at least 19 under each of the last 5 years. And then you have the Plantation course. It's par 72, just over 7,000 yards. It is a little bit easier in terms of scoring relative to par, and that's likely because of the 4 par 5. So if you are playing showdown, doesn't mean you can't play guys from the Seaside course, but give a slight bump to those that are playing the Plantation course each day on Thursday and Friday if you are playing showdown. And both of the courses feature Bermuda greens, so I don't mind looking at Bermuda putting. Both of the courses feature water on at least 10 of the holes. So historically, driving accuracy has meant a lot more than driving distance. The average driving distance at the Seaside course last year was only 285 yards, so much lower than tour average. You're going to see a lot of guys hit less than driver on a lot of these holes. You just don't really need to bomb it on a course that's only 7,000 yards. Obviously, on the Plantation course, you could be a little bit more aggressive, but again, it's a very short course, 7,000 yards. I think it's 7,060, which is extremely short for a PGA Tour course. So I'm looking at total driving, stroke gain approach. Short game has been important. I do think putting is going to play a big role because the greens here are very easy to hit, at least on the Seaside course. So I have putting all the way up to 11%, with 3 of that being to Bermuda. We have birdie or better percentage at 3%. I don't mind bumping this up if you do want to chase those birdie makers. Bogey avoidance at 3%. I think this is kind of just helpful when it comes to avoiding all the water hazards. And then we have course history. I have it set at 4%. Let's take a look at the guys that have played the best here in the past. Let's look at the guys that have played at least here twice. So Taylor Montgomery, putting specialist. Adam Svensson, iron specialist. Denny McCarthy, more of a short course putting specialist. Eric Cole, short course, easy course specialist. Neesmith, kind of the same thing. Webb Simpson always plays well on these shorter courses. JJ Spawn, Seamus Power. So you're seeing a lot of guys that aren't necessarily great drivers of the ball that have played well here in the past. Look at total driving. Like, none of these guys are great total drivers or gain a lot of strokes off the tee. And that just goes to show this is more of a second shot in type of event, at least for me. I was kind of the same last week as well. Ended up, man, in my main lineup, had 3 guys miss the cut right on the number. Really frustrating. Also had like Wes Bryan, who played well. Ben Griffin played well. Sig played well. So a little bit frustrating. But, yeah, I'm excited for this week. Now, let's take a look at who plays the best on short courses over the last 2 years. Eric Cole, Ludwig Oberg, Denny McCarthy, Brian Harmon, Mark Hubbard, Chris Kirk. Guys that played the best on easy courses over the last 2 years. JT Poston coming off with a win. Eric Cole once again. Ben Griffin, who I love this week. Davis Thompson, Ludwig Oberg. Guys that play the best on Bermuda courses that have Bermuda grass greens. Ben Griffin, Ludwig, Spawn, Cole, and Bridgman. We have their cuts made and recent finishes, which don't actually have a weight that goes into the model, but they're just go to show you how often a golfer's been playing and if they're in good form or not. So, like, Ludwig hasn't played in 11 weeks, so that is a little bit of a concern coming off of an injury. And then you have, Then you have the long-term form that's broken out into 4 different categories. So you have just a strokes gain per round. So that takes into account all finishes. And then you just have how often they finish in the top 25% of tournaments, top 10%, top 5%. Now, when I'm looking to bet, I typically bump up these two columns here because I'm looking for guys that often finish, near the top of the leaderboards. And then if I'm looking for DFS, cash games, typically bump up this column here, just guys that have a high floor. Then we have the short-term form. I put it at 9%, midterm form at 5%, field strength index at 12%. I always think you want to bump up this number right here because it helps equalize the fields that golfers are playing in. So like Jacob Bridgman right now, he rates out as a +5 on DK, which means he's 23rd in the model. He's the 28th most expensive on DraftKings. If you put this at 0, he's going to bump up to the 11th best play in the model, which is a +17. So he's a guy that has been, kind of beaten up on weak fields. And so I think that needs to be accounted for. And that is why I created this field strength metric. And ever since I, revamped the model a little bit about 6 weeks ago, I've had a ton of success, especially in Showdown. So hoping to keep that going this week. Now let's talk about some players. Ludwig Åberg at the very top. I have no issue with him. I prefer him on FanDuel rather than DraftKings. I think the balanced lineup is a little bit better looking on DraftKings. And again, he hasn't played in 11 weeks. I know he won here last year. I know he's by far the most talented golfer in the field. But we don't know how often he's been playing. We don't know how hard he's been working on his game. He's probably just here because he won here last year. He kind of feels obligated to come back. I don't have a strong take on him. I mean, he's fine. But the betting market, he's 11-1, so he's the clear favorite, but it's not like a Scotty Scheffler situation where he's 5-1 and you feel like you have to play him. So DK, I'm probably going to be fading him in my main lineup. FT, I'd probably use him in my main lineup. Love Ben Griffin, especially on DraftKings, starting with him. You can do a lot of different things with your lineup. He's been in good form, top 25s in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's played a ton during the fall. Great on short courses, easy courses, Bermuda courses, T8, T29 here. He's one of those guys that's much better second shot and in. So he's going to be my starting point this week. Don't mind Brian Harmon. He hasn't played a bunch of golf. Similar to Åberg, he hasn't played in the last 10 weeks, so that's a small concern. But I think he's a Sea Island Mafia member, which means they live on the course. A ton of the golfers in the field this week live on the island, St. Simon's Island. And he plays well on these short Bermuda courses. But love JJ Spawn, 3 straight top 20 finishes here. If you take out the WD, he's made 11 straight cuts, and he's got 3 top 10s during that stretch. Pretty solid across the board. He's been putting better too. So I'm going to be starting most of my lineups with Spawn and Griffin. Going on to Lucas Glover. Not sure it's the best course fit, but man, he's been playing well. T13, T3, T3, 24th, and 42nd the last 5 events. He's pretty good on easy courses. Really good iron player, and he's been very good at avoiding bogeys. The putting's been better recently. The short game isn't as bad as you might expect. So I do like Lucas Glover, especially if he's going to be sub 10% ownership. No strong take on Thompson. He's only played once in the fall, T5 finish. Hasn't been very good here, but he has played here a bunch, and he's obviously a much better golfer now than he was in the last 5 years. Seamus feels like a very safe play. He's been playing great recently. Top 25 machine in 5 of his last 6 starts. Back-to-back top 5 finishes here as well. Don't mind going to Doug Gim. Look, I was off of Doug Gim. Told everyone to fade him last week. I was worried about his around the green play because it was windy and everyone was going to be missing greens. This week, again, the average GIR here last year was 78%, I believe. So the lack of a short game isn't going to hurt him all that much. The putter is always a concern, but his ball striking alone should give him plenty of birdie looks this week. Love Eric Cole. I looked this up today. He has 56 wins on the minor league tour. Pretty incredible. T3 here last year and T6 his last time out. Keith Mitchell, man, the model loves him. He's missed 3 straight cuts. He was 10K and like 20% ownership only a month ago. Now he's 7,900 and 10% ownership. I have to play some, but I don't feel great about it. I do like that he has been pretty solid here in the past. He's made 4 of his last 5 cuts at this event. Probably going to be off the Siwoo. Just hasn't played great here. Hasn't played a bunch of golf in the fall. JT Poston coming off the win. This is a great Poston course, but he hasn't been all that great here in the past. The model likes Rogers. He's been pretty consistent. I don't have a strong take on him. The driver's one of his bigger weapons. This does feel like a Mackenzie Hughes course coming off of a miscut too. I think he could be one of the more intriguing tournament plays. A couple second place finishes here. So if you want to look at him, what is he in the outright market? 40-1. I don't hate that. Biggest weakness is off the tee. decent iron player, really good around the green, best putter in the field. So I could see him contending this week at much lower ownership than he was last week. Let's keep going down. No strong takes on these guys. Matt Wallace has been playing great over in Europe, has a win, and then just a bunch of made cuts and top 20 finishes since then. Love Putnam. Missed the cut on the number last week, but again, it's the perfect course fit for him. So I'll go right back to Putnam. Novak's been playing well. Svensson's got some good course history. Bridgman's been playing well. Let's see if there's anybody else that I want to mention before we get out of here. Sig continues to play well. Let's see if he's played well here in the past. Yeah, back-to-back top 15s here. 4 top 25s in his last 5 starts. So I'll definitely play some Sig as well. So that'll do it for this week. Want to wish everyone the best of luck. Hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, great Christmas, great New Year. We'll see you back here after that. Good luck, everybody.